Welcome. Today, I'm going to talk about how to deliver a successful consult. And consultations is going to be one of the most important components to a successful Weight Loss MD practice. When patients come in and they're ready to make a change, we really have to know how to sell the value of what you offer. So I'm going to spend some time going through just some important components. So I will just start with the overview. I'm going to talk about reviewing the medical intake form. We do have an introduction video, otherwise known as the pre-consult video. I'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about greeting a new consult and preparing questions, talk about our mission and unique qualities of Weight Loss MD, reviewing our programs and services, presenting a program to the patient, and really making a recommendation. So this is just an outline of the things we will discuss today. So one of the most important components is getting information about the patient. So prior to the patient coming in and seeing you, you're going to send them their medical health history form. And so when you receive that back, you want to spend some time looking at their health history. What are their health goals? You're going to want to review their symptoms, kind of get an overall assessment of what is going on with the patient. What missing pieces are there? It gives you an opportunity to really start thinking about where you want to go with the patient. And I'm going to repeat this over and over again, but really having a plan, preparing for that consultation is significant. Because if you just go into the consultation, patient sits down and you're kind of like, okay, how can I help you? That's not preparing. You have to have a plan for every single patient that comes to see you. So greeting new consults and preparing questions, again, is so important. The weight loss industry, this is an industry where they have a lot of shame, they're embarrassed. So it's not easy for people to come in to you and ask for help. So really help them feel welcome, smile at them, thank them for coming in. It's important to find out how they heard about us. And when they sit down with you, really take control of the consultation, tell them how the consultation is going to go, to state that I'm gonna get to know you a little bit more. I'm going to talk about our programs and services. And this will be approximately 20 minutes where we're just going to spend some time getting to know each other, and then I'll make a recommendation. So the other important component is, again, driving that conversation. You absolutely want the patient to talk, but you have to be mindful of the fact that some people come in and they're all over the place and they want to talk about all this ancillary stuff that really, doesn't matter. So you really have to make sure that you're asking very specific questions after you allow them, to talk, and let them express really why they came to see you today. And what's really important as you're getting to know the patient in your consultation, and as you present the programs, you constantly want to be selling our difference, because patients are going to come in thinking that you are just another weight loss clinic that's going to give them a low-calorie diet and they're going to follow a meal plan, and they know now that just doesn't work anymore. So you have to be prepared with really explaining why Weight Loss MD is different. So our mission and why we're different, again, practice this, let it come off, the cuff very easily. But in simplistic terms, we look at the whole person. We understand that there are imbalances in the body that need to be addressed in order for us to get patients to lose weight, not only lose weight, but keep the weight off. explain to patients that our focus is weight loss, but sometimes we do need to look deeper. What other things are really holding you back? You will hear me talk about it a lot. I think most people now understand that, lowering calories and being told to exercise more just literally doesn't work anymore. It's because our bodies are sicker, we're metabolically inflexible. There's gut issues, there's hormone issues, there's a lot going on. So just simply doing the diet and exercise does not work. We do offer specialty testing if needed. Not every location is going to get into the specialty testing, but we'll be able to, partner up and collaborate if one of your patients should need, more of the integrative type of approach. And that is, we're not going to get into details about that, but you should be able to have that conversation with patients if, they come to you for weight loss, which the majority of people obviously do, and you notice that they are just an absolute wreck. There's so much going on. They have gut issues. They have so much anxiety, and you realize that, wow, we really need to do some cleaning up before weight loss. Now, I'm not saying that that's typical, but it's just the acknowledgement of telling the patient, you do have some other things going on. We can definitely get you started on a weight loss program, but down the line, we might need to start talking about some other things. So hopefully that makes sense. You really have to show the value. If patients come to you, they take the time out of their schedule to come and learn about how you can help them. If they leave without starting a program, you haven't showed them the value. So really emphasize that, you have a team, a supportive team, you have nutritionists, you have, nurse practitioners that are all going to be part of the team that helps them. We have weekly support sessions. We're really helping them not only lose weight, but get into a healthier state so that weight loss is long-term. We're going to be looking at their diet each week. We'll assess their weight loss. We're going to talk to them about troubleshooting tips. Are there lifestyle behaviors that we need to address? What about symptoms? Do they have constipation? Do they have, food sensitivities, etc.? So things that you will learn along the way, but it really goes a long way with patients because, again, it's not just about looking at their diet every week and their weight. We really have to get good at looking at patients as a whole person. And at the end of every single program, really emphasizing the fact that we have maintenance programs for their long-term support. So, when they finish their program, they've been on a structured program, what happens next? They will ask you this. So even being proactive and talking to them about, after a program, we're going to make sure that you're set up for, for long-term success. Then you're going to talk about our Weight Loss MD programs. And by this time, you really should have an idea of where you want to go with the patient. So if they are somebody who's going to be a good fit for our strategic weight loss programs, then you would really just focus on the strategic weight loss. You can always mention both, but you don't want to start going through all 6 programs in detail because you will lose patients very quickly. It gets very overwhelming. So you really have to identify where are you going to go with the patient. Again, is it strategic weight loss? Strategic weight loss being HCA, HC2, or HCG? Or is it going to be medical weight loss? Did they come in saying, I want to start semaglutide? If that is the situation, then you obviously are going to start with semaglutide, and maybe you've assessed that really, a strategic weight loss might be a better fit to start with because of some of the things that they have going on. So just kind of keep this in mind that it really is about assessing kind of what is going on with the patient. What do they want? What do you think is best for them so that you can come up with that recommendation for them? And as you're talking to the patient, some possible questions that help you get to that ideal program would be, do you like a more structured plan, or do you like flexibility in your eating? Do you want quick weight loss, or are you looking for more of the gradual weight loss? Do you have time to prepare meals? Can you eat 3 meals a day? We have many patients that literally, they could be working in the healthcare environment and they don't have time to eat lunch ever. So that's a big deal when you're talking about our strategic weight loss programs, because it's essential that they have 3 meals a day on this particular program. Do they exercise regularly? Do they eat animal protein? Some people don't eat animal protein, whether it's just a personal preference or an intolerance, what have you. If they don't like animal protein, then strategic weight loss is probably going to be not high on the list, just because you are eating and are required to eat a lot of animal protein during this program. So again, these are just things to think about. These are the questions when you start to do your consultations that you're really thinking about. So what you want when you're ready to make a recommendation and review the programs, again, pick 1 or 2 programs. You can talk, you don't want to overwhelm them. Really, when you make a recommendation, tell them why you made that recommendation. And of course, you always want to meet the patient where they're at. If they're adamant about something that they've heard, well, then absolutely. The whole goal is to get the patient signed up on a program, period. I mean, that is because you can always make changes once they become a client with you and you're working with them, you're getting to know them a little bit more. So just make sure that even though you may be, maybe it's not the program that you had in mind, but the patient is adamant about it, that's okay, as long as they're willing to work with you. There are going to be some patients that are apprehensive. And so we want to prepare for these obstacles. And you can start out by just really digging deeper, or reinforcing some of the things that we offer them. And I'm not going to go through all of these things, but making sure that they understand that you're partnering with them. This is not just about you giving them a plan. You're going to support them every step of the way. If it's financials that are an issue for them, you can talk about our payment plans. Again, really making sure that the patient is trusting you. You don't want to be over the top. You don't want to be pushy. You want to just be very supportive of where they're at, but be very, very confident in what you're recommending to them. Digging deeper into, their motivations, this is actually really, really important, because the majority of people that come in, they just know they want to lose weight, but they don't know why, because they've never thought about it. They've never been asked, well, why do you want to lose weight? And when you start to get deeper with patients and you start to get to a place where it becomes more emotional, that's when you start to build that bond with them. And that's when they start to realize that you are different and you can offer something that another business was not able to offer them. So just read through these slides, because as every time you do a consultation, you're always going to learn something new. So it's going to be important that you kind of just get some different ideas, try different techniques, but at the end of the day, it's really focusing on the patient and really asking the right questions. Some other ideas we have talked about in the past for certain obstacles or challenges, is the financials. Some patients will say, well, I don't know if I can afford it, or I need to talk to my wife, I need to talk to my husband, etc. So sometimes it's, again, you can go in different directions, but at the end of the day, health needs to be a priority. And the majority of people walking around, they do not prioritize their health. So when you start to really point out some of the other habits that they have, that can be really eye-opening to people, because they're like, oh, all of a sudden they realize that they're, going out and having drinks every Friday night with a couple friends, that's costing them, maybe a couple $100 a month or something like that, or going, for coffee, how many times a week, what have you. These expenses add up. And when you prioritize your health, again, it all works itself out. It's just a matter of acknowledging and recognizing that. So again, really thinking about how you can help navigate that, kind of that budget or financial obstacle. So some final tactics, trying to get the patient to commit if they're still like, oh, I don't know, I'm not really sure. If they're a little wishy-washy, it's probably because they're confused and you haven't really really demonstrated the value to them. So maybe you want to ask a few more questions. What's holding you back? Are you confused about something? Because if they're not sure, it's that because again, they're just confused about what the program is. But some may not be confused and they're trying to decide if they want to do it or not. So what you can do is offer a discount or something free if they commit to starting that day. Again, you don't want to be over the top, because a successful patient is going to be one that, really is ready to take this on. You always want to get the patient excited about starting that day. If the schedule is full, see how you can move. You can work with your admin to try to move some things around to get that patient started. That day is super important. If they do decide to start, but they want to schedule it on a different day, we absolutely require a deposit to hold their appointment. If they don't give us 24-hour notice, then we would charge them for not giving us notice for that start, because they are taking a good amount of time on the schedule. And if cost just keeps coming up, then maybe you offer a different lower cost program. Maybe you just recommend some type of supplement that they can get themselves started on, just so they can feel connected, and they kind of, you're now working with them because now you can follow up on the supplement or what have you. So these are just some things to think about as you prepare for those consultations, because like I said, it really truly is one of the most important components to a successful business. And so everybody that does consultations will be required to record themselves, to practice multiple times, because this really is in art. It does take practice. It's a skill. So you will be given a patient, that has completed an intake form, start planning for the visit, find a partner, record your consult, and just practice, because ultimately that's what's going to make you most comfortable. So hopefully that was helpful. We will talk to you in the next video. Thank you.